Hello and welcome to Simply Science. I'm Barry Mitchell. We're all hoping for a coronavirus vaccine as soon as possible. And with all the various vaccine trials going on and when they think it will be ready, it pays to know exactly how vaccines work and how they're made. Here's Ari Goldberg.
So a vaccine in the classical sense produces an immune response. So you will not get the illness when you're challenged by the actual illness in the real world.
Paul Gottlieb of the CUNY School of Medicine is one of the many scientists around the world racing to find a vaccine for COVID-19. His own work, in conjunction with biotech company Technovax, just took a major step in their vaccine's development. And he spent some time with us explaining just how vaccines work, just how we can go about injecting ourselves with something that will stimulate that immune response.
The vaccines, for the most part in general, will react towards proteins of the invading pathogen.
So it's a race really all the time about what protein are we going to be able to make our body react to?
Yes, it is. And in fact, some proteins might not be as effective as others.
So if a pathogen may have different proteins, different unique properties, how can we know which one will be the most effective for the body to react with an immune response? Well, that's why so many companies are working on different vaccine formulations at once, testing which elements of the pathogen work best, from its DNA to an inactivated version of the whole virus to its proteins. Take, for instance, an element of COVID that we've all seen pictures of so many times.
Right, so you breathe it in and it's assembled with these knobby things on the outside. That's the sort of the first thing that the immunological system is going to see. It doesn't see anything, but it's the first thing the immunological system is going to sense. And that's called an antigenic determinant. So many companies have argued, okay, we don't need the whole virus. We just need those knobs sticking out on the surface.
If we can train the body to react to those knobs, we can just make a vaccine about the knobs.
Right.
The takeaway is we can create particles in the lab that mimic bits and pieces of the real virus, but that don't cause any harm themselves. And when we inject our cells with these virus-like particles, as they're called, our immune system can develop antibodies to target anything resembling those particles that it may come across later, like, say, those knob-like proteins on COVID's surface. But if companies like Technovax are already this far, it begs the big question.
Why does it take so long to create a vaccine?
That's an excellent question. You don't want to make a vaccine that conceivably, not only one that does nothing, that's possible. You don't want to make one that makes the situation worse. So step one, as I pointed out, will make our construction. You have to first put it in a mouse, for instance, or some small animal and say, step one, do I get an antibody response? Well, you've done all that. Let's say it came out right. Now you have to say, well, what is going to happen if I put this in a human being? So I have to do something called a phase one, which means I take a very small number of people, inoculate them, and don't ask anything about illnesses or anything else, but just say, have I done any damage here? And that takes time. We're not finished yet. We then say, okay, let's say we got lucky. We didn't do any damage. This thing looks safe. And now I have to do a phase 2 trial where I take more people, try that. And then finally, I have to do something called the final phase 3 trial where I inoculate maybe 40, 50,000 people. And it takes time to get volunteers together. It takes time to make enough vaccine.
And on top of that, of course, it takes more time to administer the vaccine to an entire population. Indeed, the fastest vaccines ever to be approved, the mumps vaccine and the Ebola vaccines respectively, took about 4 to 5 years. But with Gottlieb and scientists all around the world working on this one, we will hopefully be well ahead of that schedule come 2021.
course, in all honesty, we don't know which are going to be best and which are going to work. So therefore, it pays to have as many different ideas and formulations and inventions being developed in parallel.
Knowing just how much work goes into that injection in the doctor's office for the flu, for COVID, or anything certainly gives a greater appreciation for vaccines and your body's response to them. For Simply Science, I'm Ari Goldberg.
Next, Andrew Falzone spoke with Dr. Charles M. Rice, a Manhattan researcher who won the 2020 Nobel Prize in Physiology or Medicine for helping cure hepatitis C.
Dr. Charles Rice is a world-renowned virologist and researcher at the Rockefeller University on Manhattan's East Side. Today, the lab he leads is conducting cutting-edge research on COVID-19, but the work that won him the 2020 Nobel Prize in Physiology or Medicine started decades ago.
I began working on viruses when I showed up in graduate school at Caltech and really sort of enjoyed that aspect of biology. And so you could say that was, back in, quite a few years ago, back in 1975, so a long time.
Nearly 45 years later, Dr. Rice's groundbreaking work on the hepatitis C virus has him sharing the Nobel Prize along with fellow researchers Dr. Harvey Alter, a native New Yorker working at the National Institutes of Health, and Dr. Michael Houghton of the University of Alberta. Dr. Thomas Perlman is the Secretary General of the Nobel Assembly.
The reason I'm excited is that it's hard to find something that is of such benefit to mankind as what we're awarding this year. It's discovery of a virus that has led to improvements for millions of people around the world.
The Nobel Foundation is a private institution established by Alfred Nobel, a Swedish chemist who invented dynamite. Nobel dedicated the largest share of his fortune to fund the Nobel Prizes in physics, chemistry, physiology or medicine, and literature and peace. The winners receive a sum of money that varies by year, a diploma from the Swedish king, as well as the iconic Nobel medal. Winners in the U.S. also receive a very early morning phone call.
You get a phone call at 4:30 in the morning. There's a Swiss accent on the other line. How close were you to hanging up?
Yeah, there was this, the secretary, who turned out to be the secretary of the Nobel sort of committee on the phone, but just a sort of a mild Swedish accent. And even at that point, I sort of thought, well, maybe the guys in the lab are, sort of just playing a trick on me here, and then he mentioned something about, hepatitis C and Harvey Alter and Michael Houghton, the sort of co-laureates who I know well. And I thought, well, this is beginning to sound a little more legit. So yeah, it was an early morning and a long day.
Hepatitis C, or Hep C, is a liver disease caused by a virus. It comes from hepa, meaning liver, and itis, meaning disease. It's transmitted by blood-to-blood contact. Doctors Alter and Houghton identified the RNA sequence of the virus around 1988. Their research allowed for the virus that causes Hep C to be removed from the blood supply, virtually eliminating the risk of transmission through a blood transfusion or organ transplant. But there was still a missing piece of the puzzle because scientists still couldn't get the virus to replicate itself in the lab.
And so we began to wonder if the sequence that had been reported in the science papers and then other subsequent sequences that have been published on other hepatitis C virus isolates, maybe if there was something missing in the genome. And that actually turned out to be the case, that there was a little piece at one end of the viral RNA that had been sort of missed in these earlier studies.
And it was Dr. Rice who discovered that last little piece of RNA sequence that made all the difference. Further research by others in the scientific community allowed scientists to make their own stockpiles of Hep C virus, which allowed them to accelerate research, which created medications that today can cure most cases of Hep C.
So from a big picture perspective, in science, there are so many hypotheses that kind of end up on the cutting room floor, so to speak. They fall apart, they don't pan out. What is it like for you as a scientist to see this idea or this thought that you have turn into something that is producing tangible medical results for doctors and moreover for patients?
Well, it is a rare occurrence, and I think it's actually been one of the sort of great joys of this journey. Starting out as being really a pretty sort of basic scientist to be involved in something like this that really has made a difference in patients' lives.
I'm Andrew Falzone for Simply Science.
Did you ever wonder how clean your air is? Excuse me. Well, with a low-cost air sensor, you can check the pollution levels in your area and then see how it measures up against readings from around the world. Here's Donna Hanover.
Massive wildfires in the West have caused huge interest in affordable air pollution sensors that people can use right where they live. One company is called Purple Air, and its founder and CEO, Adrian Dibwad, actually built his first sensor in 2015 with friends because dust from local mines was interfering with the sport of hang gliding near their homes in Utah. The sensors are about the size of a coffee mug, and they have a fan that draws air in toward a laser.
The laser will be shining through the air. The particles in the air will reflect laser light back into a sensor detector, and that detector is looking at the intensity of the reflection and the number of reflections to come up with particle size and numbers.
The results can be seen on your phone or computer. Also, the indoor sensors glow in different colors based on the air quality. A few different companies make low-cost air sensors, but Purple Air has something special. People connect the sensor to Wi-Fi, and then they can also register it to report in to a central map online so everyone can get the benefit of the data being collected.
On the public map now, we have about 10,000, everywhere from Australia to Europe, Africa, and America. The map will give you all of the information that our sensors track. That is the particulate matter numbers in 3 different values of PM1, PM2.5, and PM10, which are different size particles, plus temperature, humidity, pressure, for instance.
In New York, environmental science expert and Hunter College professor Andrew Reinman is a Purple Air fan.
They're sort of like a crowdsourcing way of getting air pollution data. During the forest fires out in California, a lot of people started purchasing them and deploying them either inside their homes or outside their homes to gauge air quality and sort of how safe it was to be outside or inside their homes based on the particulate matter pollution that was being produced by those fires.
Although Purple Air is now famous, Amanda Hawkins, Adrian's wife and the company COO, says it's still a small group. Her mom and brother even work with them in their busy and sometimes noisy production facility.
It's really neat to be able to have a family company. The kids, I have 4 kids, and before COVID, they would come in here, and my youngest would always want to help.
Family and friends business.
Yeah.
Adrian gave us a tour.
This is upstairs where we have some 3D printers, and we print the housings for the indoor sensors. That's also not typical of a normal company that might be injection molding them. So this is our shipping area and our preparation area where we do preparation of the components for the manufacturing team across any other location.
How do they try to keep the quality up?
So every single sensor is tested. And we test them to compare them to each other to make sure that they all agree with each other. We do one test when we just plug everything together, and then we do another test when it's ready to go to the customer. This is the test in progress. So we have a Tupperware container over the top of them, and we would put a bit of pollutants like particulate matter or smoke inside there, and then we measure them on our software and make sure that they're all performing correctly as we would expect them to.
Regulatory agencies use sensors that are more complex to measure air quality, but because of the high cost, the number is limited. So the Purple Air Map helps scientists and regular citizens learn about pollution caused by something like a local traffic pattern or home heating habits in a neighborhood.
They're proving to be a really useful resource here because there's a handful of them in the New York City area that have been up collecting data now for over a year. So it gives us an opportunity to sort of compare changes in particulate matter sort of this time last year versus now.
Adrian and Amanda feel badly that something as terrible as wildfires has increased the need for purple air sensors.
People have died. Lots of homes have been burnt down, and there is absolute tragedy. Like, the people in California are suffering.
And the animals.
And that is not to mention the animals. And the only thing that makes it possible for us to actually sleep at night and not feel guilty about this is that we also feel like we're helping people, because they send us messages of thank you. They say, thank you for what you're doing. Thank you for the data. Thank you for the map. Thank you for helping us to understand what's happening around us in this absolute horrific experience. We're really honored to have people trust us and use us in that way.
I'm Donna Hanover for Simply Science.
Lehman College's Matt O'Dowd is developing new methods for studying the structure and evolution of the universe. Black holes, quasars, and dark energy. Reporting from Earth, here's Lisa Beth Kovitz.
Back in the days of Copernicus, an astronomer just needed a telescope, a bit of parchment, and some math. But fast forward to the days of Matt O'Dowd, and to really understand quasars, an astronomer needs a huge new grant from Eric and Wendy Schmidt's foundation, Schmidt Futures. Plus, a little bit of AI.
The days when we would look at individual objects through our telescopes are almost gone. And part of how we try to understand the universe is to seek patterns. And the patterns that are in these data don't fit on any parchment.
Okay, so what's a quasar?
Quasars, which are easily my favorite object in the universe, are what happens when the largest black holes in existence start to feed. Normally they're black, they're dark, but when they start absorbing material, you get this screaming vortex of superheated matter piling into the black hole, and that thing glows bright. You can see these things to the ends of the universe.
But lucky for us, these feeding black holes are really very far away.
So far away, in fact, there is no telescope that we could build in the foreseeable future that would be able to take a photograph of the inside of a quasar.
But when other galaxies pass between us and a quasar, Einstein's theory of general relativity kicks in, and the light emanating from the quasar bends.
As its light is bent around that galaxy, you might see 2 or even 4 images of the same quasar in a pattern. Now, those images flicker, and they flicker because the galaxy itself is actually a pretty bad lens. It's made up of many stars, and those stars have their own gravitational fields, and as the two pass by each other, the stars cause different images of that quasar to flicker in different ways. And so you have this kind of radar sweep, which allows you to actually map the inner structure of the quasar.
But recognizing patterns in such a giant heap of data requires math skills beyond the scope of any human being.
Let's think about how Nicholas Copernicus figured out that the sun was at the center of the solar system. He guessed some equations, wrote down some math, and found that the math predicted reality. This doesn't work when we're talking about not one star, as Copernicus had to deal with, but thousands or millions of stars. The result is just too messy to be represented by a single equation. And so what we need to do is train these artificial intelligence algorithms to look for patterns that we wouldn't think to look for in these data.
And will this grant change Lehman College?
Lehman College is already world-class in quite a number of areas of research, and shout out to the physics and astronomy department. I think what this grant does is it brings me a bit closer to the league of some of my colleagues there. It's definitely an opportunity. It's a big international project. We have collaborators from around the world. It will also, I think, amazing for students
Matt, could you give us a glimpse into your world that might make our stargazing more exciting?
You know, I still look up at the sky and find stuff amazing. You know, I think people worry that studying these things might jade you. You know, if you know how stars work, stars become less magical, but it's not true. I think the universe becomes more magical the more you learn about it, because the more you learn about it, the weirder you realize it actually is. The awesomeness of stars, of galaxies, many scientists feel like we're standing above this strange knowledge that is yet to be found, and how weird is the universe going to seem as we start to learn more and more. It's an awe-inspiring journey, for sure. And I would certainly encourage everyone to learn a little more. You know, every little bit of knowledge, I think, increases the wonder.
Matt, thank you so much for spending time with us.
My pleasure, Lisa, as always.
This has been Lisa Beth Kovitz for Simply Science. Happiness, friendliness, and kindness, all qualities we hope to possess and find in others. And they're even topics of scientific study.
We are the friendliest species of human that ever evolved. Why are we often very cruel? You're going to have to explain that, Mr. Humans are so friendly.
When you help others, not only are you making the other person happy, but you're also making yourself happier.
Humans are in a class of our own when it comes to lending a helping hand to perfect strangers.
Where do you find kindness nowadays? In books written by Dr. Michael McCullough, Dr. Sonia Lubomirsky, and Dr. Brian Hare.
The new type of friendliness that evolved in our species that we don't think existed in other human species is the ability to recognize group identity and have us feel like strangers who we may have never seen before but have these group markers are part of our family, that we really care about them as if they were kin. People think that what evolution means is big, mean, strong individuals are the ones that survive and are superior in some way. And that is not at all what survival of the fittest was meant to mean. What fitness refers to is only how many offspring you leave for future generations. And it ends up that friendliness and kindness are really life's most powerful ways to be fit.
Dr. Lubomirsky says performing random acts of kindness is actually good for your own health.
We did a study where we asked people to do acts of kindness for others. So people who did acts of kindness actually showed changes in their blood that are associated with a healthier immune response.
Be kind to people, live longer?
Well, I don't think I could say that, but there's suggestion that when you're kinder to others, that might be associated with better physical health. And we also know that happier people live longer, and people who are more connected to others and have more social support live longer. So the suggestion there is that if you are helping others, that you might be healthier and live longer.
Dr. McCullough points out we spend billions each year on charitable institutions, on Social Security.
We take an interest in the welfare of complete strangers. And that really is very different from what you see in the animal kingdom. We don't care about strangers for genetic reasons, but because we have the genetic endowment for reason, and it's been this process of reasoning through history that has led us to develop the instincts we have that tell us sort of course we should take an interest in suffering strangers, hungry strangers, people who are poor, people who are ill.
And yet we see this. And this.
We have this immense capability for cruelty because when the parts of our brain and our psychology that are built for friendliness shut down, and we can exclude those people as humans, that's what then sets up the most horrific things that we're capable of.
Often at the root of negative behavior is anxiety or lack of self-esteem, or sometimes it's ignorance, or sometimes it's passion but it's misdirected.
Bro, you gotta wear a mask, bro.
I think one of the most difficult problems we have is social media. They cause you to separate out and interact only with people who are like you. We get reward and we get praise for saying things and performing certain public acts online that fit with other people, with sort of our own tribal ideologies.
There's hostility, there's racism, there's hate, but there's also love and connection and generosity. I guess I'm an optimist, so I would say that the positives are greater than the negatives, but who can say?
And that's our show. Questions, comments? You can always find us on the web at tv.cuny.edu and Facebook and YouTube. I'm Barry Mitchell. Hope to see you next time on Simply Science.
Ba ba dum 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 dum, da ba da dum 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 dum.